New NCAA rules make us start so late, and it's kind of like having a big piece of chocolate on my desk, not being able to eat it. I'm looking at the weather, out the window. We have beautiful weather, and I can't go out and practice. So it's definitely time to get out here. I'm very excited. We've got a young club. We need to do a lot of work and really get ready for a month from now, or less than a month, to be able to play.
Speaking of NCAA rules, man, the new bats, guys are. Only one guy said they actually like the new bats, and that was Zeke, because he likes to bunt and stuff when they play a little small ball.
I figured that was a pitcher. You were talking
those
to.
Guys too.
That's going to be the biggest change this year, I think, in college baseball. It was for us this fall. The fact that games are going to be much faster because of the bats, the ball doesn't jump. They changed the exit speed drastically, and I thought they changed it drastically from the 90s with. 97, 98, when we used to hit tons of home runs, hit them over the lights, and they put an extra speed. But then this one is definitely more wood-like. And so you got to really hit it to get it out of the ballpark. And the sweet spot doesn't seem to be quite as big, so it's going to put more of emphasis on defense and pitching and speed and running and take. There's going to be a lot of close games. To me, and I was telling our team yesterday, these bunt defenses and first and thirds are going to come into play even more, because there's going to be a lot of games in the ninth inning that you're one run away from tying it up, like 3-2 or 2-1. You get a guy on, and you got the time to run it to place. You got to be able to execute in late innings. There'll be a lot more safe situations. The games are going to go from 3.5 hours to 2.5 hours. And so I know this fall I'd put down 3 hours for an inter-squad game, for a 9-inning game, and it would last closer to 2 hours than 3 hours. So, and that's probably good. The game's getting a little bit too long, and the bats probably did need to be changed, but this is a drastic change.
How much does that change your mentality, or when you manage a game?
It definitely changes, because it puts more emphasis on speed. And the fact that you got to run more, you're not going to hit home runs. If you give up, make a couple errors, and give up 3 or 4 runs, and you're in the ninth inning, it's just not. It's going to be very difficult to go out and score 4 or 5 runs in the ninth inning with these bats. It's more like the wood bat thing. So it's going to definitely change your thought process. Bunting guys over more late in the game, you'll feel much better with a 2-run lead in the ninth than you did 4 or 5 years ago with a 2-run lead. That's just a walk and a guy hitting out of the ballpark. It's not going to happen a lot.
Do you feel like with the emphasis on speed that plays well in your favor as far as the players you have?
I think so. We've got good speed. We've got good speed, so it definitely changes what what you're thinking, and we feel like we can put some guys out there that can really run. And my philosophy is always let guys run on their own. I have a take-off signal, not I have a steal sign, but I have for a lot of guys who can run, I let them run anytime they want, unless I give them a don't run on this pitch, which is a certain situation. And so it's going to be even more important than bunting. And we got the new field out here. Bunts are going to stay fair. That's the only thing I said to the people: make sure bunts stay fair, because we want we want our guys to bunt more. The guys that can run, whereas last year bunts seemed to go foul a lot.
Would you have preferred bats? Wood bats? Would that have just been better?
No, I mean the aluminum bats are fine, and it's part of college baseball, and it's part of the finances, the way it works. And I don't ever see, and I may be wrong, but I don't ever see Division I baseball going back to the wood bat, because there's just not any good wood out there. And if it is, the major leaguers get it, and there's a lot of money in the aluminum bats, and maybe they're not looking for the wood. I don't know, so I just want it to be equal. Where all the bats are equal, whether it's Nike or Easton or TPX or whatever it is, and leave the game up to the players.
Different level of expectation for you guys as your coach. I mean, you guys are ranked 24th, picked 3rd in the Coastal Division, I guess. You like it being the underdog role? Prefer that?
Well, we're ranked 18th in 2 of the polls, so it's not quite as bad as 24th. But we've been ranked, in that type of situation, and still going to Omaha and be a young team. 1999, we won it with a very young team, and in 2001, we won it with the same team. It was a veteran team, so we won it both ways with young and old team. So it's going to come down to how our pitching comes along. And I think that's going to be a very important part of it. But I like a young team because they're fresh, they listen. There's more coaching going on. It's just a lot of things you got to do. Whereas a veteran team, you worry more about them being complacent and being overconfident. Well, this club should not be overconfident. I can tell you that. With that and where we're ranked, and being ranked in 3rd, being ranked 3rd in the division in the ACC. And 92-08, we finished 4th in the country and 5th in the conference. So, people talk about this conference and this sport and that sport. To me, the toughest sport in the conference is baseball, because you normally have, 5 teams in the top 20, 6 teams in the top 20. Sometimes I know 4 or 5 teams in the top 10. It's a great conference, and there's a lot of emphasis on baseball.
What do you feel about your pitching, the guys you have right now?
Well, first, I feel like we better pitch. We got a lot of question marks. I don't know. We got probably 6 guys that could start for us. We feel like right now, led by Whaley, who was started last year in the NCAA tournament, the opening game, and was a freshman, and he's our top guy right now before the practice starts. We got 5 other guys that could probably fit in there. Denny Miranda's in the bullpen, and as a closer, which is a very, very important role. I don't think you can win big without a closer, whether you're here in professional baseball. You got to have a closer. Probably have 10 complete games since I've been here in 17 years. So you got to go to your pen. It keeps your pitchers fresh. It creates roles for you guys and gets them ready for roles when it's tournament time, and that's when it counts.
What does Harold bring to the team, and just what are your expectations for him making another change?
Well, he's to me right now the thing he's improved most on is defense, which is something he's really needed to work on to be a better player. And but he just needs to understand he's probably not going to hit 21 home runs this year. And I understand that. He needs to understand it. Professional people understand this. The game's changed a little bit. So if you hit double digits in home runs as a player, then you're doing pretty good. So he needs to hit in the middle of the lineup, and he needs to drive in some runs. He needs to play good, solid defense. And not going out thinking I got to hit home runs.
Coach, you guys are headed into a really tough schedule. One of those being it's going to be Swamp. Talk a little bit about how that's going to be.
I was trying to figure out where the Swamp was at. Florida might have their best club ever. They're ranked #1 in a couple of polls. They got outstanding pitching. They've got some breaks and guys they signed. The draft it's amazing how much it impacts how good your team is if you're lucky enough to keep a couple guys that don't sign pro. But they had a first rounder that didn't sign. The highest guy I've ever had come to school is Jamal Weeks, who was drafted in the 8th round. So I've never been fortunate enough to have a bunch of high picks, and they've been very lucky the last 2 or 3 years to get some guys in school. To their credit, and they're good. They're good, no question about it.
Is there going to be some high emotion with that game?
Well, there always is. I mean, it's always a very emotional game. It's been that or Florida State's always been our biggest rivals, and Florida State's probably been our biggest rival over the years, because Florida State and Miami's been good for the last 30 years, 40 years, whereas Florida's been up and down a little bit, but they're good now. They're good now.
How many positions are up for grabs right now, Coach?
All of them. They got to come out and earn every position. But I mean, I figure I know there's a few positions guys are going to play. But you figure Harold's going to start at 3rd, Perez at short, and Broad at 2nd, and I'm not sure at 1st and behind the plate or anybody starting those positions. Melendez should be in center and Zeke in left, and Elias is hurt right now, so I don't know what the situation with him. So we have some open positions that young guys are going to have to. To come in and win. Right now, it's a huge part of the season to be able to do that.
Which of the new additions you really feel are going to be contributors this year?
Freshman-wise, pitching-wise, we got to have some young guys come through. We got some rookies that need to come in and win. Brzezinski's a guy that needs to come in and be in the rotation. The left-hander pitched very good this fall. Florida Christian is outstanding. But we've got a few guys, and we can start a rookie at first. We can start a rookie in the outfield. We can start a rookie behind the plate. So I think that this is hard for me to say right now exactly, because we need to start practice and see how they're done. Sometimes you have fall practice and players make leaps from fall practice to spring practice, and then some guys don't make it to their 2nd year. But at some point they need to make it, so it's going to be interesting to see how much better they've gotten from the fall to spring. They've gotten stronger. They've worked very, very hard weight room and conditioning-wise, and they need to play the game. As a team. I mean, I think our slogan this year is play the game. And that means you got to do all the little things. And that was my slogan, by the way. I don't know if anybody likes it. To to me is play the game, because it's not going to be 3-run homer, the old Earl Weaver theory. So play the game. You got to move guys over, you got to bunt guys over, you got to play good solid D, you got to pitch, you got to hit and run, you got to do all the little things. You got to play the game, and that's what's going to win this year.
It's a lot better than no excuses for that football team for years.
Yeah. Play the game. Play the game.
This is your 18th season, and what, I guess, aspects set this team aside from all the rest? And then I know it's the first day of practice. It's hard to say that it's team chemistry already.
I think our team's pretty close, just from the fact they've been here all fall. We practiced all fall, and they hang out together all the time. I can't say there's anything that sets this team apart from any other team. I would say the one thing is this team doesn't have a ring. We have some other teams that do have a ring, so they haven't proven anything. So they've got a lot of work to do to prove that they belong, as a Miami Hurricane and part of that great tradition.
How's the competition at catcher, Coach? The competition?
It's wide open. It's wide open. Jensen probably had the best fall out of all the catchers. Villasuso's been hurt up to today. When I played today, he got hurt in preseason working out, and Roland didn't play this fall, so he's a freshman. So really haven't seen what he can do. So that's, to me, that's the position. It's probably wide open along with first base, are the two wide open positions. And you know what? I don't know who's going to start with those two positions, two very important positions.
Can you talk about Gruber a little bit? I guess getting him from USC.
Well, I mean, Kate's a guy that's got great genes, and he comes from a baseball background. Coach Gillespie was a coach at USC many years. His dad was a coach at USC. His dad played professional baseball in the major leagues for 9 different teams. So he comes from that tradition. He's 6'6", 225, 230, whatever he is. He's got a prototype body, he can run. He's very athletic, and he's coming off arm surgery, so he hasn't really shown to me this fall. I thought he was hampered from the surgery. He couldn't throw, but I thought it probably affected the swing too. So I haven't seen what he can do, except he's a guy that's got great power, and a guy that can hit it out of the ballpark, and his job is going to be to knock some runs in. He played third base there for here. He's got a chance to play first base, but later he might be an outfielder.
How's the field, Coach? I know you got re-sodded, and what's different with that?
Well, it's great. I mean, you need to redo a field every 7 or 8 years, and it's been 14 years since we redid the playing surface. Therefore, it wasn't level as it should be. The biggest thing, the bunch wouldn't stay fair, and I think that's to us this year. I said one thing, as I said earlier, one thing to the guy that was the field. I went out and introduced myself, and I said, one thing I want to say, I want the bunch to stay fair. And he went to Elon, by the way, which I didn't know, another Elon guy. We got to have a connection. And so, he played at Elon. So anyway, that's the one thing, the bunch is going to stay fair, and I think that's something we got to take advantage of. But the field's outstanding. I mean, players love it. They've been working out on their own for the last 2 or 3 weeks since school started. The infielders got nothing but good things to say. Chris Denson, our groundskeepers, worked so hard. I mean, he's practically lived out here getting it ready. So it's a beautiful field, and it should be as good a playing surface as any playing in the country.
How excited are you guys to just get out here and get it started?
Well, I'm excited. I mean, I love, opening day like this right here where you get to see what guys are doing. But I love the games most for me. I'm ready to start playing games. I'm ready, and we ain't practiced yet. But we got a long ways to go. We're not ready to play games. I love playing the games. I love the competition of games. But I love the competition in practice to get ready to play the game. So I like to see the guys compete against each other. I think it's very important that those guys have somebody pushing them too to compete for position. So we're always moving guys around, make sure that they know that, hey, somebody's behind you pushing you, and don't slack up, because if you do, it's going to be somebody right after you.
Last year, what day did you guys start practice?
Well, they started as soon as we got back to school. I guess the 19th, they worked out on the field. The NCAA rule is you can be with the players 2 hours a week in the off season when you're in class. So the first time they could work out was the 19th. So they've been taking ground balls and hitting. And I've been out here a couple of hours with them a week, but that's all I'm allowed to be out here.
But today was the first day of...
Today's the first official day nationwide of spring practice, no matter where you're at. You know, we've got the weather, which is great. But some people have been in school for 3 or 4 weeks, started that second week in January, so they've actually got a jump on us. We're the latest starting school, I think, in the state. Every other school started a week before us, so they gave them an extra week of preseason, which is amazing. You know, Miami, the best weather in the country, and the last team started practice. So it's looking out the window, just shaking my head.
Who's going to step into those leadership roles in this team this year?
You know, I can't really answer that question. That's a huge question, and I don't have an answer to that. They're going to have to do that. I don't really choose captains like after fall practice, and I don't know when we're going to choose captains. We'll choose captains at the right time when people step up and find out who the leaders are. And a lot of times that's not till the season's over with. And I'm talking about the regular season, because that's when the real season starts, the NCAA tournament. We're fortunate enough to have gone 39 years in a row, and that's when you need a leadership to step up. So a lot of times we don't even vote, and the players select them. And I want to make sure they select the right one. And even with that said, sometimes they don't. And a real leader may not be your captain that you thought was going to be your captain. So players will answer that question.
Coach, last time you guys were on the field, obviously not a very pleasant experience. You just heard the video, have you told them to forget about that entirely?
You know, I really haven't talked about it. You know that. I mean, they know it. You don't have to talk about it. We know the expectations here. You know, when you don't go to Omaha, thank goodness we've gone a lot more than anybody in this state. But they understand what's going on with us without emphasizing it right there. I'm sure the week that we play them that there'll be a little bit more talk about it, you know, that particular week. But bottom line is we need to worry about ourselves. We need to worry about getting ready to play for us, not about the other teams at this point.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.